Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mall Talkers. I'm Michael Paskett, aka the Mall Guy, and this is the show where retail and mall pros come to talk shop. In 30 minutes or less, I'm bringing you conversations from the strategists, the operators, and innovators driving the evolution of malls today. You'll leave with tactics, stories, and trends shaping what malls were, where malls have been, and what they're becoming. So pull up a chair, grab a coffee, and let's chat some malls. Today, I bring to you a true mall lifer as a guest, Chivas Alejo. He's got over 18 years in the mall space, from SM Malls all the way to Mall of America. And today we're talking about how strategy in malls differ in Asia over the West, from someone that's actually lived on both sides of the coin. Chivas,
Hey,
how are
Michael.
you?
Hey, Michael. Good morning. I'm really
Good
happy to
morning.
be here. Finally, we've connected, and thanks for having me. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm super, super excited about this. Before we dig in, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you've been, what you're doing?
All right. I'm a true mall guy, just like yourself. I really have a very interesting experience. As you mentioned, I've been in the industry for 18 years, spanning different geographies. So that one is really interesting. I spent 13 years with SM Supermalls, and now, as you mentioned, I'm with Mall of America, the biggest retail and entertainment destination in North America. So it's interesting how I started. I joined SM Supermalls as a trainee, fresh out of a business school. I joined them. Rotated me to different departments, from operations, marketing, even security. And then I ended up with leasing. It's funny because when I joined that program, management training program, I told myself that I'll go around to different departments. I'd like to study mall industry, but the least that I would want to be into was leasing. But at the end of the day, I ended up with leasing. I
Yeah.
spent most of my life in leasing. I've got background in Chinese studies as well. I studied in China and in Taiwan. So when ASM was ready to expand internationally, so they taught me to expand malls in China during the transformative years in China. So that was 2011 to 2019, just before the pandemic. So I spent a huge part of my career over there. And then now I'm here in the US because of my family. Yeah.
Good. Good place to be. He's in
Yeah.
Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota as well. So there's that tie within there. We obviously both love snow. No, not so much. Family brings all together. So
Mhm.
you've lived in both sides, Asia, Western. What's one misconception each side has about one another
Mhm.
when it comes to malls?
Yeah, I would guess that, okay, let's put it like from the Western perspective first.
Mhm.
I think one misconception is that Asian malls is all about density and traffic because of crowd.
Mhm.
I think it's really more than that. Asian malls were planned intentionally to be part of the everyday life. It's more than a destination, it's really like everyday life. You go to shopping centers not just because you wanted to go there. It's because you have nothing to do. You just be there and find something to do. They always give you a reason for something to do. So I think that's one misconception. And then at the other end, when I was in Asia, our common misconception is that uh, the US malls are dying. It's not. It's not. It's transforming, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even like I've been to Bangkok a lot. Like the way malls are positioned is you almost have to go through them. And I think that's obviously tactically done
Mm.
so. And it's so interesting because there's the heat element, humidity. You can go walk down the street to get to the other side, or why not walk through a mall? Why not grab a smoothie? Like it's intentionally done. And me as a user, there's a shopper now, like I don't think about it. I just kind of do it. And that's the whole purpose of it. And I think it's fascinating.
That's so true. Across the geographies I work with, for example, in
Mhm.
Asia, like specifically in Manila, it was really hot, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Same with Thailand, Singapore, Southeast Asian countries. Air conditioning is really a big factor. But when I
Yep.
first opened a mall in Beijing, up north of China, I was like, It's the opposite. It's like they've got winter.
No.
So it was like a total
Ah,
unlearning and learning experience for me. Yeah.
absolutely. And speaking of the learning and unlearning, uh, when you first transition between the regions, either Asia to China or China back to the Western market, what's the biggest strategic assumption you had to almost unlearn going between those territories?
I think it's about how you would create demand.
Mhm,
It's That's the main and the core strategy. The main difference really is the list structure.
mhm,
At the end of the day, everything is the same. Like you need to address the demand of the customer. You need to protect the interest of the landlord. At the same time, the interest or business of your business partners or tenants.
mhm.
But structure wise, I would say that Asia is really fast. So the lease durations are also faster or shorter. Like I would be talking about 3 year lease, 5 year lease, which is something
Mm,
unheard of in this side of the world in the US. I mean they do that now, but majority are still on 10 year leases
yeah.
because most of the Western malls, I would say, would be about stability. So I guess that's the main difference between stability versus speed in terms of innovation and change of concepts.
And I think it's fascinating. I obviously like the
Mm,
speed side of things, but there's something to the stability. I think
mm,
the Western world is starting, as you mentioned, to see the benefit of speed, see how, especially in this day and age, like how things are changing, how things are
mm,
transforming, as you put it. The stability kind of has to go out the window to
mm.
keep up, to stay agile, to, perform in this market.
Yeah, that's right. So at the end of the day, I think the best mix would be a balance between the
Yep.
two because
Fair.
yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's still business. So um, I think what Western malls is bringing is to stability, scalability, but the Eastern malls or the Asian malls would push the innovation. They're the testing ground for a lot of concepts these days. Yeah.
Yep. Pivoting a little bit towards the leasing, but still within the same vein, how do
Mhm.
you see food and beverage tenant curation differing between the regions? Because I've been to both sides and they're vastly different.
They're vastly different. You are right. And that also relates to the strategy. So most of the projects that I work with were ground up. So we really plan things up intentionally, as I mentioned, like right from the very beginning, even before we break the ground. And one golden rule that we practice there is 25 to 30% of the tenant mix should be food because it really
Mm,
drives the traffic. It
does.
is an anchor tenant in itself. It's more than the department store. So luckily, Asia is really very diverse in terms of cuisines. Like in China
Mhm.
alone, every region, like every hour away, would have different cuisine, unique
Yeah,
cuisine, and which they develop. And everybody got really palate and distinct palate on things. So there's diversity on tenant mix. So in Western world, if you say 30%, that's too much. That's gonna be repetitive of concepts. But actually it's not. We're running out of spaces because there are really
mm,
lots of concepts out there in Asia. And it's good that US is already transforming. It's going beyond the fast food, the pizza, the burgers. And you'd
thank God.
see that culturally they're opening up to different cuisines as well. Yeah.
I would agree. And I love that. I love all types of foods. And it's good to see because in Asia, I would mainly for business meetings, I'm probably biased because I work in the mall space, but we would
Mhm.
eat and have fancy dinners at a mall, which is to my American brain just like so wild to think about that it's not a cheesecake factory or like a Sbarro pizza.
Yeah.
But I am starting to see the Western, like there's more interesting food vendors. It's starting to pick up. Understanding this balance, and this one's, I think, is going to be very interesting. Once upon a time, the East would crave Western brands. Like that was kind of where everything was going. How are you seeing that now? Are you seeing a shift? And we've talked about this in the past, so I think you have some good things to say.
Correct. And that is actually like has something to do with my role. So when I was in Asia, when I started this in this industry, my role was really to bring in more of the Western brands, the
Mhm.
fast foods, the fashion concepts. the Western brands were really flourishing. And at that time, everybody looked at Western brands as the standard of quality. I think what happened or what shifted is that um, most of the Asian countries right now don't see Western as, or they don't need Western country um, to give a nod on the taste or the quality. I think they're more confident now with their own brands. Um,
Hmm.
so they are developing their own, as opposed here in US right now. I think everybody's looking for something more, something trendy, something new. So that's why they're exploring more concepts and opening up to the Eastern concepts. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating to where how it is shifting, and it's almost like this awareness that in the Western market, people are finding out about different food types, about like Vietnamese food, but it's not just pho. There's like bun cha. There's other things that are delicious, and you
Mhm.
should be trying it. And now this is giving an outlet to go and try these other delicious, I'll say, types of food.
Yeah, it's good that everybody is like giving the opportunity to taste
Yeah.
the world right now and having distinct palates. Before pho would just be the same as noodle. They're totally different. Um,
Yep.
like the ramen or the ramen would different be from pho. So I'm happy to see that um, the Western world is like distinguishing the differences now. Yeah.
Wildly so. And so for these Asia brands looking to come into the North American market, what are you looking for and what should people be aware of when scoping out or seeing who should be coming into a property?
Oh yeah, that is a very interesting question. So that is something that we thoroughly vet out when we do it here in the US because not all the Asian brands would definitely survive the US. US is a different
Yep.
market, of course. It's more than
Mhm.
the density, it's more than the volume. Asia is partly volume because of the population. US is
Mhm.
about how you would develop the brand even going out of the key cities. Yeah, I think that's the main challenge here. So if we see the potentials in a brand that they would survive outside of the key cities, I think that's something worth looking after. Yeah, yeah.
And within this as well, there's a very obvious rise in Squid Games, One Piece, K-pop Demon Hunters, more and more pop culture trends from Asia.
Mhm.
How are you thinking about this? Because this comes up all the time. And is it
Yeah.
something that, oh, it's just trendy, not invest? Do you invest? Like, how are you thinking about this?
Okay, very interesting. I would say that IP is no longer a trend. IP
Oh,
is now a segment. It's uh, it's
oh,
a category.
yeah.
It's like a department store. It's the new category that we should acknowledge because it's right there. It's in the culture right now, um, which is really very important. And um, developing a strategy around that is really very important because even if it's a category, it's fastly moving. So the leasing strategy should also adopt to that. A 10-year deal would be too much for that one because the K-pop now
Interesting.
might not be the popular K-pop in a few years from now. So I think leasing has to adopt on that as well. But we should acknowledge because it's a segment. Yeah.
Mhm. And it brings up a memory. Like when I was in Singapore one time, I love One Piece, the anime. There is a One Piece store at Changi Airport. I had a tight flight to catch, and I actually went early just to go to this store at the Changi Mall, like all the way in the back. I was going to do it, and it drove me to there. I wasn't actually planning. I've seen it. I wasn't planning to, but I wanted to go to this store. It was an exclusive. It was a category, and it got me, and it was bumping on a random like business day, which is wild to think about.
Yeah, true. And I'd actually be attending the licensing expo in a couple of weeks from now in Vegas. And that is one very interesting event that US is hosting
Oh,
every year. That licensing
yep.
expo, thousands of people from all over the world would go there. I know that Asia, Hong Kong, and China got their own pockets of licensing expo, but the whole like the massive one is in Vegas every year, and it's nice to see that because everybody acknowledges the importance of IPs right now. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, completely.
Mm.
When you're thinking about this type of strategy, like what are you thinking about? Are you looking at trends to see, do you have a strategy of like, okay, Korean culture is obviously on the rise. We should be finding pockets that might not be there yet, but it's a bet. Or are you thinking about it differently?
That's right. Of course, if you want to be a leader in this industry, you always have to plan ahead and keep on searching and scouting what's next. I remember when I was still in Asia, the trend there was more of a Mexican culture. Yeah.
No
And now the
way. Really?
Japanese, yeah, the Japanese concepts came in with the anime. Now it's the Korean, as you mentioned. Now there's of
Yep.
course the trend with the Chinese IPs with the Pop Mart and the Miniso. But moving
I
forward,
love
there are a
Labubu's.
lot more. And I would say that no, sorry for being biased. I'm from Southeast Asia, but Southeast Asia is a gold mine. There are really a lot of concepts out there. The Vietnamese concepts, the Thai concepts are out there. I think that would be the next trend and opportunity as well. One thing I could share, for example, was the flavors. Like before, we were about
Mhm.
matcha flavors all over. Now it's
My wife.
about
Yep.
ube. Now it's about ube
Yep.
flavors, which some people don't know. It actually originated from the Philippines. It's a root crop, like which is from the Philippines, the purple one, the purple flavor. So yeah,
Yeah.
even flavor is interesting. Yeah.
Hopefully real durian doesn't come. I do like durian, but that and a mall might get a little stinky.
I think that's another story, but yeah.
That's another one. That's far and few between.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think one thing the West is doing well that Asia should actually be thinking about, though?
I would say it's about reviewing company backgrounds, vetting it out,
Oh,
scaling things. Uh, US is a very corporate world.
sure.
It's really very good with P&L studies and so. Uh, and Asia, I would say, is starting to learn more from it based on the case studies of success and failures. It happens in all companies and brands, but at the end of the day, I think it's something that US could offer. It's the corporate side of things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that's fair. What do you
Mm.
think that if you had to pick just one thing that the Western world should be picking up from Asia then?
It's the speed. Yeah, the speed of innovation and being open up for things. My personal experience is this: when I was working in Asia, we keep on doing things fast. I mean, once we conceptualize, the team knows the objective. What we do is, okay, let's hit the ground, do things, do
Yep.
experiment. If it fails, then let's just correct ourselves.
Yep.
But in the US, it's more about talking and reviewing things thoroughly before implementing it. Well, sometimes it's really good, like weighing things out, but you miss out the opportunity sometimes if things are being discussed too much. Like time is of essence in this industry. So yeah, I would say it's more of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Do you think it's realistic that they would pick that up though? Like, have you seen with the transformation, malls dead, which we all know is not happening, but like COVID obviously
Mm.
started something. Do you think it's realistic that malls or companies are picking up speed or are open to picking up speed?
I think it's starting, and we're already there. It's more maturing with the specifically through LBs or location-based entertainments, or the
Yep.
pop-ups. You'd see a lot of those these days, like the thematic concepts. So they change quickly. They're changing or adopting to the lease structure that is demanded out of these trends. So I think we're getting there. And I think most companies are getting the right balance between anchors and pop-ups or LBEs. Like they're distinct business models, but at the end of the day, they blend in an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. Well, I will say thank you for taking the time today. You have been the utmost fun. You're very knowledgeable, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Yeah.
Perfect. So before we depart, do you have any last words, tips and tricks, anything for the listeners?
Okay. What I could say is um, this industry, the retail real estate industry, is really about designing demand. It's about really understanding
Oh,
customers and designing demand. Right now, retail is shifting from transactional to participatory. So it's really important that we design demand in terms of being immersive, being innovative, being interactive, and having IP just multiplies these things up to become, I mean, to have higher commercial real estate value. Yeah.
love it. We'll do another episode on that specifically. That's a great
Yeah.
topic to
Yeah.
pick your brain.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for taking the time.
Mhm.
Very much so appreciate
Awesome.
it. And thank you
Yeah.
to
Thank
all
you. Thank you for
talkers.
your time, Mike. Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank you as
right.
always, everyone.
Yeah.
Later. Ciao for now.